Braddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, thank you. 25 minutes before 8 o'clock, and Brigitte Stone is in the studio, and
Smith.
I'm sorry?
Smith.
What did I say?
Stone.
Oh, my gosh, I'm sorry. Brigitte Smith is in the studio. Sorry. Charlie Stone is your opponent.
Correct.
All right, Brigitte Smith is in the studio. Thank you so. Oh my gosh, Robin, I'm embarrassed in here. You are a registered nurse, and you have dedicated your life to helping people, and so I just wanted to say that. And now you want to do it in a different way. Not that you want to leave nursing, do you? You're going to still be a nurse.
Yes.
And you're running for state representative for District 22. Currently, the incumbent is Charlie Stone.
Correct.
Not Charlie Smith.
Correct.
Just to make a mistake twice.
Right.
And so we had a little bit before we went on the air, but that wasn't recorded on this recording. So good morning.
Good morning.
And I did ask you this earlier, but did you just get off work?
Not last night. I worked Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, 12 hours, but Monday's the day after you're pretty much in blah. But I was actually out all day hanging up campaign signs, painting signs. I'm recycling my signs that I used 2 years ago. I'm very frugal with my money. So I pulled off the old stickers and I'm painting on new stickers. So it's cumbersome in time, but it saved me so much money. And when you're running a campaign on a shoestring budget, you do what you need to do. So I do that during the day.
And you ran for county commission once before.
Right.
And got 19% of the vote.
19% of the vote in a 5-candidate race.
Which is pretty good.
Which is pretty good for me, coming out of the box.
That's basically 20%.
It's name recognition. And it's
one-fifth, yeah.
That's right.
So now you're running for the state representative. Tell me if the change in the seat that you want has anything to do with a revised version of what you think should be done.
Well, I guess the responsibilities between a county commissioner and a state are completely different. As a county, you get your hands in every little bit, budget, this and that. In the state, you're basically either, you're trying to propose good legislation or basically get rid of bad legislation. Now, obviously, it's a bureaucracy up in Tallahassee. I would be one of 120 representatives, so it's very hard to even get a bill to the floor. And that's the process that I pretty much think stinks. Before you even see a bill, it's come from the lobbyist to the leadership, and then back to the staffers before you even see it. But this is where my main focus is legislation that starts with the people. What do we want? It's time to change the face of politics, and let's get our issues to Tallahassee and things like that.
Yeah. Well, before we get into specifics, I'm just curious on a general question. What are your thoughts on the is proliferation the right word of amendments, not to the U.S. Constitution, but to the state constitution? It seems like every time you turn around, there's somebody else at another event asking you to sign something, a petition that'll get an amendment added to the Florida Constitution.
Well, let me talk about those amendments. There's 13, 20 of them.
There's a lot of them.
Many. And here's what they do. Now, none of them should even be on the voters list because constitutionally you should only have one issue per amendment. Well, you see what they've done. They've linked 3 issues into one. Okay, so let's just hypothetically say you read this one in the amendment number 1, hypothetically, and it says, oh, you agree with that.
Right.
Oh, and then the second thing in there, oh, you agree with that.
Right,
but then there's third thing in there, oh, heck, no, I don't agree with that. But yeah, I like these 2. So guess what the voter does? They vote yes. So that's how those no amendments that we can't stand get in there, because they clump these things together, which is unconstitutional.
Oh my gosh.
And everybody sitting on that board, those 20 commissioners up there, Constitution revision people, they've all taken an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution. They know that is wrong. This is how corruption gets started. Vote no on everything. That's my opinion.
And the whole process of getting an amendment put into place is constitutional. We do have a right to do that. So what is the solution? Are we as I don't know. I guess you've already expressed that. I don't need to ask it twice, but it's interesting.
It's frustrating.
I looked at the list and I brought it up so that I wouldn't have to memorize
People need
anything.
to read it and understand it, and then they realize that most people aren't informed. Only 30% of the voters vote in the primary. Just get out there, get yourselves informed, and understand that. How can you put 3 items into one amendment?
And one of the things that I can observe from being the guy who puts the news together here at the station is that you see, for example, there was a story this morning regarding one of them. A Florida lawyer is asking a court to remove a victims' rights proposal from this year's ballot. That's Amendment 6, I think. Okay, so and Amendment 6 here is the rights of crime victims. Okay, right there's a perfect example. Oh, the headline looks good. Oh yeah, crime victims should have rights.
Go ahead and read the actual
and maybe
bill,
maybe it does. But my point is, the average person is fixing cars. They're working in hospitals.
That's right.
You know, they're not paying attention to all these nitty gritty little things, and so they go to the voting booth and they do. Oh, victims' rights. Yeah, my gosh, I'm for that.
Right.
That's exactly what you're saying.
That's right.
Okay,
That's
sorry.
correct. Yep.
You're a farmer.
I am.
What do you farm?
Well, I have a little small 5-acre farm. We have horses that we have rescued Mustangs from the Bureau of Land Management.
Oh, wow.
My children have broken them and raised them. We ride them now, the best horses. We have hogs. My daughters have always done FFA, raised hogs. I've got about 40 or 50 chicken now, and roosters. I heard your rooster cook-a-doodle-doo this morning. I could give you a real one, and he could do it for you every morning. And then I have ducks. I have Great Pyrenees outside that watch the animals.
Oh, wow.
And then I rescued an inside pit bull for inside the house. Even have a turtle and goats.
You know, when arguments come up about the Electoral College, I know that's not a Florida thing. Well, it could be, I guess. But it is the farmer that I always think about who will be left out if we ever got rid of the Electoral College. It is, in fact, the rural America that will be left out, because a candidate only has to go to New York, L.A., Chicago, boom, I'm in. And, of course, it's just presidential politics, but I mean, right there, having somebody in office, potentially as a stepping stone to a Washington, D.C. office, I mean, it could be something that would be important. And you hear it all the time.
Right.
You hear people all the time arguing against the Electoral College. Well, it says you are a leader. I already know, Brigitte, that you're a leader.
Yep.
Are you the leader? No, I want to answer. So I'll save the silly questions for later. All right. You're a veteran. This is important.
I am.
Tell me about your service.
I was living in Frederick, Maryland when the Twin Towers came down, actually in the OR that day, and we couldn't believe it, so we all got turns relieved to go watch the TV. And 2 days after that, I said, okay, I got to do something. I called a recruiter, the Army, and shortly thereafter that, I was a direct commission as a first lieutenant.
Wow.
United States Army Reserves.
Wow. Good
and
for you.
I did my weekends at Fort Meade, which was a CASH unit. Used to be called a MASH unit, the series MASH. They're called CASH now, Combat Artillery Support Hospitals.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then when I went out to Seattle, moved to Seattle for 2 years because I'm a whale advocate, like to save the orca whale as well. I did some time at Madigan Army Hospital for the soldiers coming straight back from Germany. I had them on the OR table, and I was the first person that I've seen, didn't see their wives yet, crying and crying.
My gosh.
And I said, anybody tells me that I did not do anything purposeful, I did.
Wow.
Held their hands and put them on the OR table and helped them. Yes, we did.
Wow. So tell me specifically about the job as state representative. What do you see needs to be done, and what do you want to get done? And this is where I'm going to stop talking and just let you talk.
Sure.
Are you okay with that?
That's fine.
Okay.
And you can ask questions along the way, too. My biggest issue is with our next generation, Common Core. Now, in 2014, legislature in Tallahassee just changed the name from Common Core to Florida Standards. Let me give an example of what happened to my child, my middle child. She graduated, walked across the aisle, and they called her name Taylor Jordan Smith. It said cum laude. I went, that's with honors, right? They go, yeah. Well, how does that happen? Because my daughter was always in a remedial class, was never, ever on grade English. So here you have a child who's basically going to write a paper maybe at an 8th grade level, and I've tutored her too. She just one of those childs, does things with her hands, and obviously she's a horse trainer now, so she wasn't college bound to begin with. That's not the point. But she graduated cum laude with not even being on grade English. And that's, to testing, to standards and things like that. I'm not sure how that happens. So that's hit my own personal, household. They're not teaching, the Constitution enough. These kids, look at Fox, what's his name, Water's World. He goes to these colleges, they don't know the first thing about the Revolutionary War, or who was this, and it's like, this is our generation. So just seriously need to revise and look at those standards. Now, it is painstakingly going to be difficult, no doubt, but you get the superintendents of each district, school boards of districts, and parental involvement, and you just start tackling one at a time. Or set aside a commission, let's do some trends. All the representatives go out into the communities, meet with these superintendents and school boards. What do you feel is the biggest issue? Let's talk about it. Get your grid. Then you go back to Tallahassee with 120, and then you trend. What's the commonalities? And the top 3 commonalities, that's the ones you tackle first. That's what I believe needs to be done.
Yeah. Oh, and a lot of people can resonate with that. A lot of people have said the same exact thing. We had a math problem that we talked about. I'm not going to bring it up, but except to reference it. And we were all getting different answers, and they were all correct.
See?
Isn't that crazy?
Well, let me expand on that. And I've done some research, and on the standardized tests, if you look at the language, some of it is very ambiguous. You could say, as far as for the teacher grades, the word explain and the word justify. I might think it's the same, but no. Explain means explain, but when justify, they'll give you credit for either a mathematical explanation or even an illustration or writing out. But yet, the two words aren't the same. And when you're basing these tests on these points and full credit, based on what you did, you're going to lose credit. And this is how we are, using the test scores. So
What is your thought on the vouchers that will take the bullied kid out of the school and put him in a different school?
Well, I think that's fine, but I think we're missing the point. The bullier needs to go. Here we are, Band-Aiding. That, to me, it's a Band-Aid. Now, great, if that kid needs to go, that's fine. But let's do a root cause analysis.
Thank you.
We do nursing. That bully that's doing the bullying, he should be taken out of the
Robin,
school.
you hear this?
I
Yeah.
mean, seriously.
Right.
This is why society is today. We allow the bullies, I'm getting very passionate about this. We allow the bullies to do what they want to do, and there's no repercussions. Well, this is why it is today.
Absolutely.
Get rid of them.
Absolutely.
Take them to a special school. Let all the bullies get schooled together and be bullied together.
I love that. Yeah.
Knuckleheads.
And you know where we see it as adults? On the road.
Yes,
I mean,
it transcends
and
across. Exactly.
Speaking of that, as a state representative, do you have any thoughts on the infrastructure, the roads in the state that you want to talk about?
Well, the DOT pretty much covers all that. I know there's been a particular road that we're not very fond of coming through here.
Yeah, I didn't know if you want to focus on that one or not.
We pretty much have it. I went to a lot of the meetings with Mayor Green and Donnell, and they wrote some resolutions and so forth. This is Ocala, and the people of Ocala want to keep it Ocala. We didn't move here to look like Orlando. Find another route. Leave us alone. We like it here the way it is. Now, economy is great. I mean, you do need to build to grow. That building is good. But you don't build right through farmers, which is what got us here today in these horse farms. You don't do it. The I-75 release project was where they were supposed to be dumping the money just to increasing the ability to get through I-75. But somehow that kind of got brushed under the table.
Oh, really? I didn't know that part of it.
Check that out. I-75 Relief Fund, yes.
I had no idea. Now, this mall right here used to be a horse farm. That college across the street used to be a horse farm. Pretty much everything down State Road 200.
Right.
So there's an example of the horse farms also. But I don't know that was being bullied. I think those horse farmers decided...
They decided to sell, right. Just like the one down Winding Oaks decided to sell part of it to Jaguar, and they're keeping a portion of it. So yeah. I mean, building is good. It's a free market. It's good. We need to grow, but...
Getting back to your work, your history as a veteran, do you want to talk about veterans' issues at all? Does this at the state level?
Yes, I have a very My pet project is I would love to, and I would love to. I call it champion veteran foster care. It's been rolled out in some states, it's been successful. What that means is to take a veteran out of an institutionalized facility, put them back into a home environment. Now, there's regulations for that, which mean the person that's going to be receiving that veteran needs to be some sort of medical experience. I would prefer also that person also be a veteran as well, because there are different issues with veterans that anybody else won't quite pick up on, especially with PTSD kicks in, or they look, there's different things. So that's not only going to save $10,000 per veteran per month, over the course of, years. That's expensive and numerous veterans, but it gets them out of institutionalized care, which brings back their dignity and their independence, and they could live longer that way in a much more happy environment. So that's a big one for me. I want to champion something like that for veterans.
If you're just tuning in, Brigitte Smith is in the studio. She's running for state representative, District 22. On her flyer, she's listed as a conservative Republican. She's also a farmer, a leader, a humanitarian. You are for change, and you've already outlined some of those things you want to change. You're a veteran, as we mentioned, first lieutenant, which is outstanding, and a certified operating room nurse. In fact, you were just with somebody in the operating room the last shift you were on, right?
Yeah.
Is it every shift? Pretty much?
Pretty much.
There's always somebody else.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Before I get into I have some left field questions for you. Now, this is the silly part.
Okay,
so before we do that, is there anything else you want to say on the serious note to
serious note?
your potential constituents?
Well, I just want to take the sum of all of our experiences as we, the people, take it to Tallahassee and let's level the playing field. People like us, level the playing field.
There you go. And you're from our world. You're from the workers' world.
That's right. I know what it's like to leave your hard, cold sweat and tears every day at the workforce.
For those who don't know, Brigitte has been in here before, and I think last time we talked about the Constitution more than we did today, and you know your Constitution. So I just wanted to make sure I got that in there. All right, here's some left field questions.
Uh-oh.
Do you have a dog?
Many.
How many dogs do you have?
3 right now.
3? Wow. You always been a dog person? Any cats?
2 born cats.
Oh, okay. They're good for the mice, right?
Oh, the rescues.
They
I
do
rescue
a job?
everything.
You
were at the Wendy's parking lot, and I dumped
Oh, my gosh. Okay. Number 2, this is a good one. Jelly beans or Good and Plenty?
Neither.
Neither. You don't like jelly beans or Good and Plenty. All right. Number 3 is also a food one. Food trucks or fancy restaurant?
Food truck.
Food truck.
Oh, yeah. We don't go out to fancy restaurants.
Don't go to fancy restaurants. All right. And the last one is stairs or elevator?
Depends.
On?
Depends on if I have a patient. I got to take the elevator.
Oh, at the hospital, of course. Yeah. You can't take the stairs if you have a patient. Brigitte Smith, thank you so much for coming in today. Good luck with everything. Do you have a website or a Facebook page?
My Facebook page is Brigitte Smith for State Representative, District 22. And actually, also, my personal Facebook is open to the public. I'm not hiding anything. I like to say that what you see is what you get with me. I'm not in it for political prestige or power. I'm in it for the people. So what you see is what you get.
Can I throw in one more? This is maybe on the superficial side of things, but I'm telling you, this listenership really responded to this one. Opening up the swimming area at Silver Springs.
Oh yes, definitely. Yes. We need to have that done. In fact, I've been talking to some other people regarding that because the Department of Environmental Protection has it right now. So we are trying to get, we have a group of people we are sending petitions. Actually, another representative, Stan McLean, is trying to work on it. I spoke to him recently. So we are pushing that issue hard. We need to maybe more power with it. We're going to get it.
And you know, when you go to Denellen and you see how many people are in Rainbow Springs
and kayaks, exactly.
They're making money.
That's right.
Because of the tickets they sell, because of the flotation devices they sell, because of the food they sell. Right. And you know what else is benefiting? The city itself. Look at Denellen.
That's right. And that's what ours is pretty much, that area is just dying down.
Look at Silver Springs, the city,
right.
in quotes.
It's the bureaucracy, the DEP that's holding us back right now. We need to fight the DEP.
If we had swimming in Silver Springs, you would have people coming from all over, not just all over the county. They'd be coming from all over. They built a beautiful hotel in Denellen to hold the people who want to go to Rainbow Springs.
Right. We're going to make it happen.
This could happen in Silver Springs here, the city, Silver Springs.
That's right.
Thank you, Brigitte.
Thank you.
Good luck.
I appreciate your time.
We'll be right back.
Medicare rules are confusing. They should be. There are over 130,000 pages of regulations. There's Part A through D, Medicare Advantage, and Medigap. According to the CMS, there are government programs available that can help you pay for your medical expenses. Choosing the right Medicare plan is a really big deal. The wrong